All right. Feeney Talks with Friends, episode 118. This is great. We're with some good friends. Hey, Deb. Hey, Gary.
Hi, how you doing?
We're here with For All Ages. So it's going to be a wonderful podcast. Like I said, this is 118 episodes of Feeney Talks with Friends. My name is Eric Feeney, founder and president of Friends of Feeney. I use this podcast, Feeney Talks with Friends, and I talk to wonderful people in the community that are doing great things. And I'm hearing so many good things about your organization, and you guys are getting out there and you're spreading a wonderful message. You're creating new words. You are connecting intergenerational people, and I think it's so amazing. So I'm so happy to talk with you. How you guys been?
Been doing really, really well, Eric. Thanks so much for having us on. This has just been incredible. I know that we met years ago, and we've both been doing some really good things. Friends of Feeney, we love what you guys are doing, and thanks for having us on.
Yeah, back at you for sure, because we hear great things about Friends of Feeney. We see that green sticker all over the place.
Thanks. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Deb. Yeah, we met. It was 3 years ago. It was October 22nd, 2021 at World of Beer. We had drinks, and we talked about all the great things that we were both doing, and if we could partner or collaborate. But time flies.
Time does fly.
Sure
it's
does.
Just been crazy, right? I mean, with so much work that we've been doing and all the programming, and it's all good, though. It's all great stuff.
It's good to be busy, right?
It's very
It's
good
a
to
good
be
busy.
Sure is.
I'd rather be busy than not.
And this time of year, it's we're very busy right now because we got a couple big events coming up. Year end, like a lot of nonprofits, we got to fundraise, so you know what that's all about.
Yeah. So, speaking of big events, it's October 19th. Big stuff going on. What's going on October 19th?
So this year is really exciting. We're the premier charity for the Hartford Marathon. So what that means is we provide more volunteers. It's a great opportunity to be featured throughout the race. We get nice top billing in some of their publications. We're in the Charity Village right in Bushnell Park, which we've been the last couple of years as well. So it's a really good opportunity for us to show our team, show our mission, share our mission with everybody, and it's our largest fundraiser of the year.
Yeah, no, it's great. Your goal's $40,000, and you're right around $30,000. That's amazing.
We are.
Congrats.
Thank you so much. We've
you.
had a number of generous organizations that have stepped up to sponsor our team, and it's just been incredible to be receiving the support and to be able to talk to people and they know what we're doing and that we're helping people, both the younger population and the older population. And they, at some cases, they're reaching out to us now and saying, "How can we help? What do you need most?" And that to be in that position has just been so
It's a good
incredible.
feeling.
Yeah.
So there's 24 days yet left to donate, so we'll share the link, and hopefully
Perfect.
people, if you're listening, please click the link. I love how your website, that's the first thing that pops up. It's like, donate here. It's like a little shield to your website if you donate before you even get to the main website.
It is.
Who creates that? That's awesome.
That's
well done
me.
on that.
That's me. I'm the
Wow.
webmaster for All Ages.
Impressive.
Thank you.
I like it. And so
A little
many.
bit of testing takes place, I have to say. I'm not an IT person, and I've learned because I've had to learn.
No, you've done a great
and
job.
we have sort of figured it out. Every once in a while, I bounce ideas off of Gary and say, "What do you think about this?" He'll look at the website and say, "Okay, yes," or "Okay, well, what about tweaking this or changing that?" So we kind of work as a team on it. Although I'm on the back end, actually making it all
She
happen.
makes the magic happen for sure.
Wow, that was great. And then how did you become the premier sponsor? Who do you reach out to? I'm asking for a friend, so maybe in a couple years, you never know.
Well, we've been involved for 3 years, the 3 prior years, and every year we would move up a level as a charity. As an official charity, it's incumbent upon us to provide volunteers for the race, Hartford Marathon Foundation volunteers, for them to use sort of at their discretion, although we identify and we work with them to say, okay, where will our volunteers be? And then in this year, they're going to be at West Hartford, based in Morley School. And then they will be course monitors for the half marathoners and the marathoners, really just making sure that they are going in the right direction and making sure that there isn't some type of medical emergency where they need to call on someone else to help them.
Wow. How many volunteers do you have? Do you know?
We have 40 volunteers signed up on our behalf. And they are going to be spread out throughout West Hartford. And then we've got a team of 40 walkers and runners in Hartford that are
Nice.
all walking different, either walking the charity 5K or running a different distance. So it's kind of neat. And people of all ages. I think our youngest participant this year is 12, and our oldest is in her 70s.
Wow.
So in line with our mission
I was gonna say.
of
Yeah.
multi-generational and connecting the generations, we've been able to pull that together each year, really. And that's one of the reasons why that we select the Hartford Marathon as a fundraiser for us, because it allows us to bring people of all ages together.
True.
And everyone can help in some way, shape, or form.
Well, now that we're on the topic, I did run the full marathon in 2015. I just want to put it out there, humble brag.
Good for
Wow.
Hours and
you.
47
Awesome.
minutes.
Brag. That's good.
That's an incredible achievement.
Yeah.
I do not walk, or
Yeah,
I do
we-
not run the marathon. I walk the
Yeah, we
charity
walk the
5K.
charity
My running
5K.
days are
I
long
might
over.
run the 5K. You still looking for teammates? And
We
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Come join our
Okay.
team.
Yeah.
You get a
Yeah.
nice blue shirt.
Ooh, I love free. I love
Easy
free
to
tees.
sign up for allages.org/marathon.
Okay, we'll share the link in the pod.
Yeah,
please.
Put
that's
the link.
easy.
Please donate or please join their team. I might join their team.
So what we ask when people join the team is that they strive to raise $200.
All right.
So it's not this heavy lift where I know if you were to enter the Boston Marathon and
Yeah, it's
align yourself with a charity, it can be thousands of dollars
Yeah.
that the charity's asking you to raise. We ask people to raise $200. We have a free lunch the Sunday before, so this coming Sunday
coming
is our
Sunday,
free
yeah.
lunch at the at Gastro Park.
Very nice.
And everybody gets a team T-shirt. And the whole idea is that everyone can come together, do their part in raising some funds, and for every $20 that we are able to collect, it provides 1 hour of intergenerational programming, or social health literacy programming, which is something that we actually started over this past year, just based upon everything that we have learned these past few years about the epidemic of loneliness and how important social connection is. We've been out now talking to people about it and really sharing just what we've learned.
Yeah.
And it's just been fabulous. We've connected now with more than, I think it's 4,300
Yep.
people in the state of Connecticut, just sharing a bit about social health and social connection.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you have a wonderful hashtag, hashtag Run to Connect. Run to Connect.
Run to
Run to
connect. Yep.
connect.
Yep.
That's cool.
So
Yeah.
we have, as an incentive to raise more money, right? We've got some levels and we've got some nice prizes, which is really nice. One of the nicest ones is if you raise $400. I think it's $400, right? That we just made sure that it was correct. We'll give you a $40 coupon for the next race for next year.
Ooh.
So that covers your registration fee for next year. So there's an incentive there.
Yeah.
And the appreciation, little brunch that we're going to have on Sunday, that's nice because it gives us a chance to say, hey, thanks. Right? Here's your team shirt. Maybe you won the prize because you raised more money, but it's a chance for us to say, thank you for helping us out because it's far-reaching. So there's people from all over New England, obviously, to come, but we're focused mostly in Connecticut.
Yep.
But that's because we can manage that. But we're touching people all over.
No, that's great.
Yeah, and we bring our volunteers together with our racers.
Yeah.
We consider the volunteers that are volunteering on our behalf as a part of our team. They are just as important as the racers, and so they get a free lunch. Everybody comes together. People can meet one another. We
Yep.
give out a cape, a superhero cape, to our team captain, our volunteer captain,
Okay.
at Morley
I saw that
School.
online. I saw that on your
Yeah,
website.
so we'll be awarding a cape. It's an actual superhero cape to our volunteer captain. And then to anyone who raises more than $500, they get to wear
You
a
get a
cape
cape.
too.
Oh.
It's kind of a cool thing to
like it.
become a for all ages superhero.
Now, do the half marathon and the full marathon, will they both be running by
Yes.
Morley?
Yes.
Because sometimes they change it.
I think they are this year.
Okay.
Although I actually was going to look at the route because I know the 5K route changed a little bit. They still end through the arch, but they moved it a little bit, I want to say, to the east,
Yep.
as opposed to towards where Frog Hollow was. It's
Okay.
not that far over on that side. It kind of shifted on to the east side.
Yeah.
No, good
They
stuff.
should both be
Running
running
for a
through.
good cause.
Yes. Yes.
For all ages. No, and it's an amazing program. Would you like to talk how it got started or what was your inspiration?
Sure, we can do that.
Yeah,
so
why don't you start and then I'll fill in after that. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I mean, we both had situations where we were watching family members go through a really tough time. For me, it was my father, and I watched him be the last of his friends to be alive. And as his friends started passing away before him, I could tell that, I mean, he didn't have that social connection. It was shrinking right before his eyes, right before my eyes. And while he had family around, it wasn't the same thing. And so, you know, after just watching him struggle with that and understand that there was something going on there, I started doing research into loneliness and could there be any connection with mental and physical health. And of course, there's this body of research out there that we didn't hear about in society. People weren't talking about it. And so I reached out to Gary. Gary and I are longtime friends. My husband and I and Gary and his wife have known each other for 40 years now.
Since
40 years.
Late
yeah.
80s?
Yeah, almost 40 years. And
Good time.
I reached out to Gary and said, this is what I'm thinking about doing. I can't find a nonprofit with this mission, and I think I'm going to start one. What do you want to be a part of it? And I'll let you take it from there.
And I said, yeah, let's do this.
That's the
famous quote.
Those were his words.
So I had been mentoring in West Hartford here, and I saw the value of what an adult can do by kind of mentoring a child. Yeah. And I instantly had that connection. So we were doing different kind of, you know, coming from two different angles in a way, but I saw the value there. And what we quickly realized is there's lots of organizations that just have people go help older adults. And those organizations are fantastic. But we kind of did it the other way, if you will. And then quickly it goes both ways. Mm-hmm. So the vibrancy of an older adult can kind of be in a mentoring role for a young adult. And also a young adult looks up and says, you know, geez, I didn't realize somebody like that could talk to me. Or that's where an ageism piece fits in. That's part of our mission, to reduce ageism. So right away, that kind of fit. And we were both retired, so it just made a lot of sense. I, too, had my parents. I could see them kind of getting withdrawing a little bit, you know, missing things like Christmas Day. Well, we're tired, we don't want to go out. And they really were tired, and there was no really reason why they wouldn't get out. And now I'm actually seeing my mom go through it in a really bad way because my dad's not around anymore, and my mom doesn't want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But what really happens is when she finally does get out to somewhere, like my daughter's baby shower or something like that, she'll come home and I'll say, hey, Mom, how you doing today? Oh, what a wonderful time I had. Geez, I saw people I never saw before. I hadn't talked to her or him in so many years. Boy, what a great way to connect up. You know, I think we're going to call each other next week. Bingo.
Yeah.
Like, it works.
That's amazing.
Right? You connect people together, you feel better.
Yeah.
That really touches and hits home to me because my wife lost her grandparents during COVID. Okay. One nanny, the matriarch of the family with 8 grandkids, 30 grandchildren, had to go to the hospital and couldn't have visitors.
Right.
So she died alone.
Oh, gosh.
And was lonely and no one got to visit her. Where Pop got to go home to family and they took turns caring for him. And he lived a lot longer.
Yes.
So that really proves and makes me, you know, confirm what you're doing is great. And I think just that connection.
Yeah.
I talked to someone just yesterday, an older person. They're depressed. They are almost getting to a milestone age, and it's really starting to hit home. So, you know, lonely, depressed, getting older, feeling the age of hearing or vision. So how does someone get involved? Can someone say, hey, I'm feeling lonely, can I join your program? Is that how that works?
Well, that's one of the ways it can work. It can work that way. So our programs and events are all a little different as relates to what's happening, what the activity is, and who the younger population is. So for instance, we have a fishing derby every spring where we bring older adult anglers together with underserved youth and teach them how to fish for the morning. We have our most popular program, which is Tea at 3, which connects a Connecticut college student with an older adult for a weekly phone call during the college semester. So we've had 600 people go through this program now, highly impactful for both the younger adults and the older adults. So you say, if somebody were to reach out to us, what would they do? The first thing we would do is say, do you want to be a part of this program the next time that we start it? It runs every spring and every fall with the college semester. And we would talk to people about, okay, this is what's involved. It's a weekly call. If you own a telephone, a cell phone, or an old-fashioned rotary phone, whatever it is, if you own a phone, you can participate in the program.
Yeah, I love it. Tea at 3.
It's called Tea at 3. And the whole idea is you sit down, you have a cup of tea in the afternoon, or coffee, or water, or whatever it is you want to have in the afternoon, and you enjoy a call with someone. The loneliest population.
Sorry, I'm going to sneeze. Sorry.
Bless you.
Bless you.
I didn't sneeze yet. Sorry.
The loneliest population is actually the young adult population, believe it or not, age 18 to 22, and it's starting in the teen years.
Is that when they go off to college and they're not fitting in with a group yet?
It can be that.
It can
yes.
be. Yep. It's a major transition period. Yeah. So that's often like one of the harbingers of why you become lonely and not feeling connected.
Yeah.
Age, losing a spouse, that's one too.
Yeah, so all those transition periods through our lives.
Yeah, so you're partnering a college kid, which is 18 to 22.
Yep.
Correct.
That's that age.
Correct.
And someone,
Yes, and it's age 55 plus, which is the older adults. So Gary and I both qualify to participate in Tea at 3.
Yes, we do.
So we've had a lot of people say to us, well, I want to participate, but I'm not lonely. Right?
Okay.
And I want to help, but I'm not lonely. Well, absolutely, because just involving yourself in social connection can improve your health. Like, you don't have to be lonely. All of us, each of us can improve our social connectivity. But from whatever baseline we're at today, we can improve that. And we know that some of the detrimental mental and physical health impacts of loneliness, starting with anxiety and depression. You mentioned depression. Loneliness is a root cause of depression. Loneliness is a root cause of suicidal ideation for people starting in their tween years. And loneliness is also a root cause of substance abuse, gun violence, domestic violence, and for older adults, 50% higher chance of developing some form of dementia if you're lonely, a 56% higher probability of having a stroke, and a 30% higher probability of developing heart disease. So all of this research is out there linking to social connection. Yeah. Social connection can improve all of that. And so that's really what we're out touting. Like, you don't have to be lonely. Right? First of all, there shouldn't be a stigma around it. It just means that you need social connection. It's a feeling that you have, like hunger, right? It just doesn't mean there's something wrong with you when you're hungry. It means you need food. Yep. So when you're lonely, it simply means you need social connection. That's it.
So we don't even have to worry about the word loneliness. It's just more focused on social
connection. Yes. And that's why we came up with a new word. It's called connectful, which it represents exactly what we're talking about. So start using that word.
Yeah,
be connectful.
Teach my kids tomorrow.
There you go.
Connectful. We're doing suffixes. We would underline the base word, circle the suffix.
There you go.
It means full of connection.
We looked it up on Merriam-Webster Dictionary. It's not in there. We reached out to them and said, how do we get it in there? And they said, you have to show that it's being more and more widely used in from a variety of sources.
So you really did reach out to them?
Yeah.
And there's really a way to get it
to be
a word.
I think it's going to be a long and winding trail to get there.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's possible.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
I think it's analogous to, I like to use the word friends. Right? I mean, you can never have too many friends, right? And when you meet a friend, or you either a new friend, or maybe you haven't seen an old friend, boy, don't you feel better, right? You're connected. Oh, hey, what have you been up to? And that's where it really works, right? And think of the opposite. If you don't have someone to reach out to, and you don't have anybody you don't feel like you're connected, you feel you're disconnected, or you're in a room that you don't feel like you belong. I mean, those are just bad feelings, right? I think everybody can understand that, and I think everybody knows somebody, including themselves might be, that you've had a time where you felt lonely, or you reached out and nobody reached back, right? So that's kind of how it works. But all our programs are geared around that, and when we put it together, it happens like that. It just because it works. We're social beings, right? We're meant to be around people. Right, which isn't to say that sometimes you need some me time. I always try to throw that in.
Solitude is okay too.
Yeah, a little me time's okay too. But
we are social beings.
Yeah.
Not me. I don't even like walking to the fridge by myself, right? I always
Me too. I got to be around people. Absolutely.
be a good friend.
Yeah.
Be a good friend. Yeah,
That's
it's
our
all
motto, so it's like...
it's
Yeah.
all
I know,
aligned.
I've
What
seen
you're
it.
doing
Yeah,
and what
it's
we're doing,
great
there's
brand.
definitely some
Definitely some
alignment
alignment.
there.
I see it.
Yeah.
You know, our motto is hold the door for someone, give a compliment, be charitable, pick up trash that's not yours, just
Right.
being a good friend, drive like
Right.
a friend.
Oh, that's a
So
good
I think
one.
you're a wonderful, yeah.
We need that one.
We do. Yeah, and we've got this. So
Yeah, this is a good story
Our
here.
motto. So I'm sure.
Is this on a T-shirt? I think
you-
I've seen this
Yes,
on a
it's
T-shirt.
on a
Yes,
t-shirt.
it's
Yep,
it's
yep.
our shirts. You know, there was a poet in the UK that wrote this poem over 100 years ago, and it was written for a children's charity. And he came up with this poem, which I think it was on Barney and some
Yeah,
other
Sesame Street.
Sesame
Just
Street.
They put it to a music. Yep.
And we looked it up, and it's open source. He said, I'm writing this, and forever I want it to be open source because I want people to really take this to heart,
Yeah.
that the more we get together as humans, the happier we'll be. And we found it, like just happened upon it, and we
Yeah.
said, look at this. This is perfect.
So
this,
open source meaning that you can take it and use it for
Yes.
a sticker?
yeah,
legally.
I was surprised that it was.
Legally.
Thinking
No
how-
copyright or
how many
anything.
Correct.
That's
people
so cool.
it
Correct.
touched.
The more we get together, the happier we'll be. I love it. It's so true. Yeah, we're always trying to have fun events.
Yeah.
We just had a whiskey event. We had March to the Park Road Parade. Next week we're doing a Makerspace event.
awesome.
So it's like getting people together for a good cause, seeing
Yes.
smiles and
Yes.
bonding, forming that relationship.
Yes. Where's your
We'll be
Makerspace
happy.
event?
Yes, please. It's at the Elmwood Community Center. It's our
Great.
6th
Okay.
annual.
Yep.
We'll be outside in the grass. We'll have live music in the gazebo. There'll be like 1,000 pounds of cardboard, and you'd be amazed what the kids build with cardboard and duct tape. Claw machines, pinball machines, forts, houses, cars.
That sounds like
And you
a
know
great
what?
time.
Yeah.
As the adult, you're just like, can I use this and build this? You're just like, yes, whatever they say, yes.
Yes. it's easy. Yeah.
That's awesome. And just make it intergenerational, right?
Yeah.
Get the adults in there with the kids and
Yeah.
have
Yep,
them
we got some volunteers
work.
helping out.
Yeah, that's great.
It's real good.
Perfect.
Cool. I know please swing by if you're not
What-
busy.
what day?
1 to
What-
3 this Saturday.
This Saturday, 1 to 3.
So
Okay.
the day before your
Our
luncheon
Our
volunteer,
luncheon,
your
okay.
volunteer luncheon.
Okay.
Yes. All right.
No,
We'll
you
have to do that.
you have a wonderful initiative. You have tea for 3. You do the fishing. Don't you do a card writing, letter writing
Yeah,
activity?
you
Yes,
know,
this is a good one.
we started that during the pandemic. So we really thought about what is our mission and what can we do during the pandemic to contribute. And we started inviting people of all ages to make cards that we delivered to, you remember those pictures of isolated older adults behind the glass, and nothing could reach them. Their families couldn't reach them. And we thought, okay, let's deliver cards. And so we've kept that going. We've kind of changed the focus a little bit, and now we're focused on the year-end holidays, which is the loneliest time of the year for so many people.
Right.
And we're focused on delivering to assisted living and memory care facilities. So the people that often don't have family coming to see them, right? They're not the folks that are independent living folks that are out and about and, you know, grocery shopping and doing their thing. This is for the folks that really are in a room by themselves most of the day. And we also deliver to veterans.
Veterans Home, yeah.
So we're connected with the veterans,
Yeah, the VA in Rocky Hill.
yeah,
Nice.
the Veterans Home in Rocky
Yep.
Hill, and then the patients at the Hospital for Special Care. So I had been connected with the Hospital for Special Care in the past. I helped them with some fundraising and have served on their board and such. And I just thought, you know, what people don't know is that many of the patients live their life at the Hospital for Special Care. And I thought, okay, you know, like
that's a good-
let's just get together and get folks making cards. So this is our Comfort and Joy
Yeah.
campaign that we call it now. Provide comfort and joy. We invite groups of school children. We've got college students. We've got older adults making cards. We've got organizations. I know the Hartford's leadership team is coming together, and their leaders are going to make cards. We've had CVS Health's leadership team come together, make cards.
Prudential.
Prudential. So we've got anywhere from school kids that want to do this, you know, in their class, to corporate executives making cards, and we deliver them throughout the state of Connecticut.
We're looking for more people, too. We're looking for more groups that want to do it.
Yeah.
Because the more cards we have, the more we can distribute.
Yeah.
No, I love that. And I challenge all the listeners, write a handwritten note. It goes so much further than an email or a text.
Yep.
It does.
We're not used to using snail mail anymore, but to get that letter and to see a handwritten note can really hit home and touch someone.
Yeah.
My sisters, my nephews just grew out of their graphic novels, Dog Man, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, so they donated them to my classroom. I had my students write notes to them, and we mailed them. I could have easily dropped them off.
Yeah.
But to see, we haven't got maybe they'll write back and we could start a little pen paling. And then, I showed the dog Tonks, and then half the letter, maybe 90% of the letters, of course, involved the dog. It was funny how that, but I encourage everyone writing the letters. I try to do a few, once a month, a couple times a month, but the power of a handwritten note goes a long way. So
It sure does. And you can, on our webpage, fораllages.org, the pictures that you see there are actual pictures that we've taken. And there's some really, you can tell the emotion just by looking at them.
The people that have received the cards.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something special. If you think back for anybody who was, our
feel
age
like
and did a pen pal kind of thing, as a child, you can remember that anticipation of going out to your mailbox and seeing if there's a letter there.
Yeah.
And so to bring that back now would be really cool. We don't run a pen pal program, but we would love to see more and more of those out there. The cards that we have done, we've had a couple people make cards and have said in the card, they've written, if you want, here's a self-addressed stamped envelope.
Ooh.
If you want to write back to me.
make it even easier.
Yeah.
And so we've had a little of that happen with
those,
some really creative card writers.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's our challenge to you. Write some letters out there if you're listening.
I get a kick out of the diagrams or the pictures or the text because, like Deb was saying, so young kids. So we've had a card that just has a big yellow circle, and it just said, "Oh, that's the sun," and that's all that was on there. And then we've had someone that spent hours in a painstaking pen and ink drawing with a frame and everything. Literally hours to do it.
Yeah.
So, and everything in between.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it almost doesn't matter because somebody receives that card and they see a nice little sentiment, happy spring when we did the spring, or happy holidays, or a picture of a Christmas tree or a menorah, just something that you feel like you're included.
Yeah.
You're not forgotten about. And it goes a long way, and people love to get them. No question about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best way to say it.
Yeah.
It helps people understand they're not forgotten.
Yeah.
Right? And just think about that. Like, what would that feel like to feel that you had been forgotten? And so if we can overcome that with a written card, like
Simple.
how cool is that, right?
Simple.
No, you do some good things. I love it. And then unite the light. Am I saying that right? Is that the one?
Unite by light.
By light.
Unite
It's okay.
by light.
By light.
Unite by light.
Yes.
So it was in Simsbury, but now it's going to be Rocky
Yeah,
Hill. Is that
this-
an exclusive? Do people know this?
This would probably be the exclusive announcement right now.
right.
This
Yes,
is it. You
yes.
got the
There it is.
announcement,
so
Eric.
so you got the exclusive.
Yeah, we're taking it on the road.
There's some flyers going out. There's going to be some sound. There's the text boards in town are going to announce it. When we first came up with this idea, how do you bring people together? Again, that was born out of COVID to some extent.
It was.
We
December of
reinvented it
2020.
from an organization that was just kind of selling luminaries for like neighborhoods, or maybe you lived in a cul-de-sac or a small little apartment complex or whatever it might be.
Right.
And we said, well, we need to bring people together, but we have to, the social distancing. And how can we kind of make everybody feel a little more cheerful in the holidays? So that's how it started. And just so happens that in Simsbury, Hop Meadow Street is a mile long.
Right.
So we also, Deb coined a phrase, it's a unity mile, which is exactly what it was. But the thought was, why couldn't we package that up and bring it to nearly any town?
Right.
Providing that, the venue or the street or the buildings or whatever works. So flat, handicap accessible.
Safety.
Safety, well lit, all the kind of basics, maybe some parking around, so when people are there, they're not, parking in a place they shouldn't be. So this year it's going to be in Rocky Hill, a little bit more scaled down because the venue's different, but we're going to ring what's called the Old Town Center with approximately 500 luminaries. It'll actually be a lit candle luminary bag. So we're holding bag decorating sessions, so your kids can come out with kids or older adults, whoever wants to actually draw something on the bags. You can see the design when we light it up. Then there's a task of assembling the luminaries. So that's another night where we're going to put all those together. And then the fun part is place and light them. And then we need somebody to clean them up the next day.
There you go.
But I'm looking forward to it. I've lived in the town for many years now. There's a lot of people that are interested in it. You know, I think anybody will agree that we need a little bit more unity in our world today. So it's a great opportunity.
I love it. Do you have a date?
Yes, we do. It's going to be November 15th. It's a Friday night from roughly 5 to 8 p.m.
All right.
Thank you for asking.
Night the Light, Rocky Hill, November 15th.
You know what's really cool about that event? And again, we were thinking about how do you engage people of all ages? Mm-hmm. So even with the placing and lighting, you can bring your family together. Yeah. The child can place the bag with sand and a cup and a candle on the sidewalk, and then the parent can light it, right? So all ages can be involved. And, you know, that's one of the things that we find are so, people come back to us and say, thank you for doing this. Thank you for creating a family activity that is safe and is interesting and is different.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, simple, different, and you know what, it means something different for everybody.
Right.
We've got some photographs of a person just looking at the candle. Like thinking, you know, who knows what they were thinking of? Maybe a loved one, maybe a memory from some other time or past place. So, and then we've, like Deb said, we've had families kind of go through and look for their bag that they decorated. So it kind of be like a little hide and seek kind of a fun thing too. It's kind of whatever people want to make it. So we're going to have some light snacks and hot cocoa and coffee served by the community center, which they've offered to do that. One of the churches has also offered to do that. I'm kind of drumming up some entertainment of some sort, maybe someone with an acoustic guitar. I'm looking for the church to play some bells on Christmas carols with their chimes. So that's all in the works as we speak.
Wow. And they're going to be out only for one night? They can pick up the next day?
Just one night, right. So next morning, the candles last about roughly 4 or 5 hours. So, you know, the nighttime hits, it's 8 o'clock at night or so, the candles are kind of burning out and everybody can kind of just go home, and the timing works pretty well.
Now, can the bag kind of touch the candle for safety reasons?
Well, we build the bag, we actually fold the top, so the bag stays somewhat intact, you know, barring a real heavy wind.
So it doesn't close in.
So it doesn't kind of close in. And out of all the bags we've lit, we've only had a couple little minor episodes.
But you know what happens, though?
Nothing happens because it's sand.
Yeah, this is what happens. The bag burns up, and what you're left with is the candle's still there, and then the sand.
A pile of sand, so it's safe.
So it's perfectly safe. It's just sitting there on the sidewalk without a bag. So, I mean, it's kind of humorous when it happens. Yeah. I think it's only happened twice in the thousands of luminaries that have been lit.
How many years so it started in COVID? Have you done it every year?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Well, with the exception of last year, we tried. It was a
2 weeks we tried.
Yeah, and so we had it rained. It was a Sunday night. It poured.
November or October?
December.
It
was December. It was the first Sunday of December last year. Poured. We postponed, worked with all of our volunteers. So we had music and vocal performances planned all throughout. We had about 200 performers set to perform. The venues, and then we had all of the people set to place and light. We called them all that week. They were all going to come back, and the following Sunday it rained again. And we said, okay. So what we did is we said, okay, well, let's reach out to all of the faith communities, all of the faith organizations in the area, and offer them the luminaries, because they were all built. And let them place them and light them at a time that makes sense for their organization. And so we distributed them all.
Yeah, it went quick too. People came and picked them up.
We had 7 organizations. So between the faith communities and 2 adult living communities, they came and they picked them up, and they were able to do it on a night where it wasn't raining and it wasn't windy. And so some people got some joy out of it all.
Sometimes Mother Nature.
That works that way.
2 years in a row, the Park Road Parade was canceled.
Okay.
Right, I remember.
Feel your pain.
Yeah.
We build our floats, and then the rain, and we ordered T-shirts. So we were sitting on these shirts for 2 years in a row. So but it worked out. So it all works out. And
It
then you got it
does.
to the right people to enjoy that.
Right.
Yeah, it worked out great.
Right.
You know, and it's all inclusive, right? And another thing, so all of our programs and events, we try to make them as intergenerational, as inclusive as possible. So that kind of works too. It's for everybody. And it's a good way, it's often been coined, you know, it's a great way to welcome into holidays. Whatever holiday you might be celebrating, there's a lot of them right in that time of year. In fact, that's why we're doing it a little earlier this year, because one of the organizations in Rocky Hill is the Department of Human Resources and Human Services. So they're going to probably do some sort of food drive, tack that on. So if you want to come down, maybe you're going to bring a non-perishable food item. Those details are being worked out. But that's another way to help more people by doing something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all inclusive, and it's, like I said, it's for everybody. It's just a nice night.
Man, keep up the good work.
Thank
I love
you.
it.
Thank you.
I know, and then this email in 2021, I say, oh, my daughters and I would love to help with the Unite the Light. By the Light?
Unite by Light.
Unite by Light.
Darn it. Again.
Come together with light.
Gotcha.
Watching
Unite
the
by
light. Unite by the light.
So maybe this
right?
year, 3 years later, maybe
Yeah,
we'll
maybe
come.
you can
Come to
November
Rocky
15th,
Hill.
Saving the date.
All right,
Tell
you
the
got it.
family.
Yeah, we're doing it. Yeah, we're doing it before Thanksgiving this year.
Snacks and hot cocoa, too. You had me sold.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be
Yeah.
the first welcome in of the holidays,
Yeah,
even
it'll
before
work out well.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, because Thanksgiving's late this year. It's the 29th, 28th to 29th. And that actually works because they're packaging up things like gift boxes for the VA, people in town that would normally be starting to go to food pantries more frequently because of holidays.
Yeah.
So it's going to touch a lot of lives. It's going to be great.
All right. Well, I hope to see you there.
Awesome.
We'll be there.
All right.
And we've been talking so much, I forgot to thank my sponsors. I want to thank Stefania and Dave from Direct Line Media. None of this would have been possible without Dave and Stefania. Our wonderful hosts, Maximum Beverage. Connor, Matt, and Brian. Come check them out at Maximum Beverage. We also have Brook Golf Law, The Fix IV, Donut Crazy, People's Bank. I'm going to miss a few. It's been a while. I think that's it. Keating Agency Insurance and West Hartford Lock. So with West Hartford Lock, what are 3 keys that make you great at being the founder and CEO and the co-founder of this organization? What are 3 keys?
Oh, gosh. Wanting to give back to the community. For me, I mean, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets me jazzed every day. I get up and I think about how can I help people. So the key is to have passion, I think, right?
I would say
Have
passion is
All right.
huge.
So go for another one.
I would say that because we're different and because of our name, For All Ages, we know that this touches everyone in one way, shape, or form. So that's why we called it that. So a key is it's for all ages. It's not just about one demographic or one town
Yep.
or one age group. It's for all ages. So that to me is a key.
I think the other key, the final key, we have to come up with the third key here. The third key is really, let's see.
So we have passion for
We have-
all ages
And what's the third key? The third key is wanting to have fun. I
Fun.
think that's
Yes.
actually one of our
Yes.
values
Yes.
is to make fun and have fun. Because if we can bring people together and they're having fun and they're
Yep.
enjoying each other's company,
That's right.
and we're having fun doing it,
Yeah.
I mean, what better thing
Yeah.
to be doing, right? To
Love
serve
it.
your community in that way.
passion, fun, and bringing people together.
There you go.
Sign me up. And where can our listeners find you? What, websites, emails, Instagrams?
Yeah, sure. So forollages.org. So that's the letters, FOR. That is our main website. We actually have another website which we can
Yeah.
talk about related to a statewide initiative that we have, but forollages.org, and we are on Instagram, forollages.org, and we're on Facebook, and we are also on LinkedIn.
Very
Yeah.
nice. Very nice. And thank you for this wonderful.
There
Got
you
my
go.
new cup. I love the logo. Can you want to talk about that? Who thought of that, or where was the design?
Oh, that's Deb. Deb's got
Yeah.
the creative blessing going on with the
Yes.
logo right
So I think the whole idea is, you've got 2 people they're kind of like leaf people. And so the two people, one's supposed to be the older adult and one is the child. And together they're coming to, uniting, and there's a star. So there's good stuff coming out of uniting. And they're surrounded by a leaf, which is all about the fact that we can help each other grow.
Ooh.
So that's the genesis of that logo and why we said, okay, this is what we're going to pick.
When do you think you created? What year? Do you remember?
It was 2019.
2019.
2019.
And when did this organization start?
2019.
Oh, wow.
April of 2019.
So you start the logo and the place.
Yeah,
We're still working on a logo. Any ideas for Friends of Feeney? This is wonderful.
Deb called me and showed me that and explained just what she just did, and I went,
reaching for the star, leaves.
That's the
I love
logo.
it. It's so cool.
That's it.
Very
I have no
fitting.
comments. That's the logo.
Yeah. We're pretty happy with it. I think it represents exactly what we stand for.
Maybe brainstorm some Friends of Feeney
I'm happy
ideas,
to brainstorm ideas. I know, there's this creative side of me that I think I have that even though I was in the insurance world for a while, I was doing some really, I guess, technical stuff, you'd say, with finance and law.
Yeah.
And I never lost that creative side. I was always painting, doing some interior design, doing some creative things, right? Keeping both sides of my brain going.
Yeah, would you say that's good for loneliness and depression too? Hobbies?
Oh, absolutely.
Creativity,
yes.
building,
yes.
creating, right?
Yes, all of that is great to improve your social connectivity. If you can do anything that you want to do with other people, right? So if you can take your passion, whether it be photography or whether it be painting, and you can bring other people into that fold in some way and connect with other people, it's wonderful. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask, in the past, you retired from
I retired
Hartford?
from the insurance industry, so
Okay.
I spent some time at Travelers.
Okay.
Then I spent some time at a law firm doing some insurance-related work, and then I spent some time at the Hartford. So almost 30 years in the insurance industry, doing a number of different things. And one of the best times I had was leading an organization at the Hartford where we would do a community service day. And I can remember taking apart kids' bikes. You get them in the box, and we bought like 10 boxes of them, and we scattered them throughout the Hartford, inside and outside, and we set up these teams of people in our department. We had about 125 people in Hartford in the department, and we broke everybody up into teams, and it was a scavenger hunt, and they didn't know what they were looking for, and there were clues to get to these different areas to pick up parts. And once they realized, then they had to build a bike, and then we donated them to a local nonprofit in Hartford. So it was just neat. We had the folks from the charity come, and just seeing everybody's faces when they were able to receive the bikes, and the folks the employees. And so that's where I really get excited about those kinds of things, in addition to the other work that I was doing.
And get you thinking?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I had been a Girl Scout leader for a decade, helped a group of girls go from 5th grade to graduating high school, and had been a soccer coach for a while when my daughter was young. So I had done some of that. Always enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so I started out as an engineer. So I did aerospace engineering, classic engineer type work, writing software, doing designs, logic diagrams, all that kind of engineering stuff. And I quickly got kind of tired of that a little bit because I'm a people guy. And I know it's a kind of a horrible cliche, but I'm happiest when I'm talking with people, and I talk a lot. So I did a lot of technical sales work. I did some biomedical, pharmaceutical work as well. I was fortunate enough to travel to Europe a bunch of times doing both engineering and technical sales work. But during all that, I was coaching. I was fortunate enough to be an athlete many, many moons ago, and I did a lot of coaching. And when that stone turned over the other way, and I couldn't really do as much coaching as what I missed being around the kids. And that's when I became a mentor. So that's what gets my motor running. When I'm helping kids out and doing things like that, that's really what keeps me going and keeps me young, I like to think.
Yeah. Yeah, we knew your mentee, right?
Yes,
So that was
yes, we
great.
shared that. Yeah, yeah, small world.
Small world. No, it's great. And so another game. So good to get some background on you and get to know you, because we've known you, all your work and your passion that you put in for all ages. But good to know insurance world, engineering. What company engineering?
Started out at Hamilton Standard, but I also worked for Honeywell, and I did work with both Xerox and IBM.
Okay. Very nice. And how many years?
33.
I'm in year 21 of teaching, and it feels like forever. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I lost track of the years, I think, especially when you're raising kids. I often say I lost a decade between 1994 and 2004. I had 2 children in that time frame, and I don't remember hardly any of it.
Yeah. Yes.
Between going to work every day and raising kids and coaching and everything else, it's like, whoosh, what happened to that decade?
Time goes by quickly, for
And then
sure.
you have 2 children, and how many children do you have?
One.
Nice.
One. Yes.
And I have twin girls.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, they keep you busy.
Yeah, I'll bet.
They do. They absolutely do.
So another game. Yeah, you
Okay.
mentioned it. What's the game that you heard on a podcast prior?
Oh.
I don't know. if I heard
First,
a game.
last,
Oh, that's
best,
it. Yeah,
worst.
Yeah,
I don't know
Deb.
if I did it
Point
in the
for
right
Deb.
order.
Point for Deb. First, well, you mentioned the worst when your luminaries, or the rain.
weekend
I don't
rained
know.
out.
That
was-
it
yeah,
could
that
be
was
the
the
worst. But what was your first event for all ages? Your most recent, your last one, your
Okay.
best one, and your worst one. Any
I'll-
order.
I'll take the first one.
Gotcha.
And it was what we called Chairs for All Ages. And the idea was, okay, how do we come bring people together? So I don't know exactly how the Adirondack chair came around. I think, Deb, you were researching it, and you had seen it in a few other different ways and means in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
But Adirondack chairs are hard to get out of. They're, everybody loves them, and you can't get out of the darn thing. So the idea was, let's bring together tech ed students in a high school and older adults who might have been carpenters or woodworkers or just interested in building things like that, and bring them together. In fact, when we first brought it together, the idea was not to necessarily redesign it, but just to kind of come up with a plan to build them together. So that's what we did. So the idea was, we're all about bringing people together, right? So we made pairs. So we built 5 pairs of chairs. And then, so once they're built, the idea was, okay, what do we do with them now? So now we said, well, we got to decorate them. So then we matched up National Honor Society, Art Honor Society. is that
National
right?
Art Honor Society.
Right? I wasn't an artist, so I got to get that wrong. Oh, gosh. So that was a group of high school students and area artisans to get older adults to come together to come up with a design. And we really didn't tell them what to design.
No,
we gave
they
them some
did.
ideas, just community ideas, some thoughts, but then we just let them do what they wanted to do. And there's some great pictures on our webpage under Chairs for All Ages. And the idea is we had businesses sponsor the pair to help defray the costs of all that, and as a fundraiser. And then we had put out the chairs in pairs so that you could be out in front of a storefront, let's say, and the idea is you could sit down and strike up a conversation with someone. So that was our first real program that I think, and it was one of our best too.
Yeah,
I
it
will
started
say.
in
One
September
of our
of
best.
2019.
Yeah, gosh.
So the fall session, the chairs were
Yeah.
designed and built.
Okay.
And we had a 90-year-old gentleman who was in charge of testing
gosh.
whether he could get in and out of the chairs
Yeah.
easily. Once they passed his like he gave his
Literally, he
his
sat
stamp
down
of
and said, "Is this
approval,
good?"
and he said, "Okay, I can get up. We're good to go. You can build them." And then the whole spring semester was bringing the artists together
yeah.
with the students. And so there was this thing that happened in March of 2020 that prevented us from being able to get people together. So I took all the chairs back to my house. They had all been painted, mostly.
Pretty
I
much,
finished
yeah.
up the painting, and then I clear coated them. So every weekend I was clear coating chairs because there were 10
Lot of work.
chairs. And then in April and May of 2020, think about where we were with the pandemic.
Yeah.
I presented them to each of the sponsors who put them outside for people to be able to come out and sit
Okay.
and get outside.
Yeah.
So it worked out really well, that there was an opportunity for people to get out, right? You remember the fear of not being able to do anything or
and
go
social
anywhere.
distancing and all that.
And so the timing worked out. other than some extra work on my
did.
part, and my husband's part, clear coating.
Yeah, I remember the last session to get the painting done, more or less, was 1 week before the whole announcement when the state just shut down in the United States and everybody else was shutting down.
Yeah.
So we snuck that one in kind of, but who knew?
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, that was crazy.
So that was first.
That was first.
So
I'll go with the first. Yeah.
So last, this gets into our statewide initiative. It's called the Connecticut Collaborative to End Loneliness. We started convening it a year ago after our Surgeon General declared loneliness a public health crisis in the United States. And the first things that we're doing, we brought together a steering committee of senior people from around the state, cross-sector, really. Think about the CEO of Mental Health Connecticut. We've got a senior executive at Cigna who's a physician. We've got a number of senior people that come together to help us formulate, okay, what are we going to do here to really eradicate this crisis? And we said, all right, the first thing we have to do is talk to people about social health and why social connection matters and start to reduce the stigma. So in the spring, we started hosting and holding a series of conversations throughout the state where we invited anyone that wants to attend to come out. We were lucky enough to do one at UConn last week. So that was our last one. Wow. So the UConn Humanities Institute heard what we were doing, and they reached out and said, will you come do this for students? Because we know that student population is the loneliest population, and we think there might be some interest. Whoa, was there interest?
Yeah, it was packed house.
It was a packed house. We had about 70 people there, about 50 students, and we had faculty and staff also come, and then some people from the community come. And what a cool event, right? To have that many really students. Well. We had a panel, and so we had 2 experts, and then 4 people with lived experience, 2 UConn grads. One of whom was Bobby Melly. So he was a 4-year starter on UConn's baseball team and was drafted into the major leagues, who suffered pretty significantly from loneliness and depression and anxiety. It got really bad, and he ended up in the hospital and then got some help and some treatment and realized that what he needed was social connection. And then there was another student who graduated, but who had been at UConn during the pandemic, and he just talked about how isolating it was and how he had to kind of rediscover how to make friends and how to connect.
Yeah.
And 2 current students talking. So it was really, really powerful for people to hear others sharing their story. And what the students said to us afterwards, a couple of things. 1 theme, when will you be back? Because I want to share this with my friends. Yeah. And 2, thank you, because now I realize I'm not alone. So just, you hear those 2 things and you say, all right, so we're doing the right thing, right? We're on the right route here.
And the idea of the collaborative was we realized that, our programs and events are great, but we can only reach so many people. Right. We can only be in one town at once, at least currently. That's, we're not a huge organization. So we said, we need to reach more people, like we talked about already. This happens everywhere. Everybody knows somebody, right? So how can we do that? So that's what kind of spawned this whole collaborative, which makes sense. So now we're going to be touching all points of the state. Slowly, it's going to take a while, but we're getting there. We've got 5 work streams that are detailed on the webpage, which is endlonelinessct.org.
Yeah.
So you can take a look
New
at
website?
that.
Yes, endlonelinessct.org. You can get to it from For All Ages. Yeah. If you click under initiatives, it's the first one that pops up, or you can go directly there. So it's endlonelinessct.org. And we're just getting started. We figure it's going to be a decade-long initiative, and it's our hope that after 10 years, it won't be needed.
We won't
need
it.
There'll be change that will. I'm going to knock on wood here that it won't be needed. We can just dissolve the whole initiative, and we'll be in a better place, right? And so there's lots of work to be done for sure, and we've got lots of people. Everyone who's coming to the table is coming as a volunteer. Every single person, recognizing that we need to come together to make change for ourselves and our communities. Yeah. So it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Awesome. That's great.
So that was last, and
Yeah,
then
that's last.
and then best, right? Best is hard.
I mean, we try to make them all the best. But I think one thought we had was, if you look at the metrics of how many people we've touched, how many towns we've been in, how many different age groups and ages and diverse people that have been included, I'd have to go with T at 3.
Yeah. T at 3 has touched 600 people, 12 weeks. Some people stay connected for years after.
Yeah.
So it's not only that 12 weeks, but they build a friendship, an intergenerational friendship, sometimes in a mentorship type role. We had a retired female pilot from West Hartford who connected with a college student who wanted to become a pilot, and they have connected.
Yeah.
We've connected people over ukulele
Ukuleles,
playing, right?
gardening,
Common
sports.
interests. That's all it's about. That's where friendships
and,
begin.
and there's been even a couple that weren't common at all, right? Because when you're pairing up all these people, we have room for
someone's
about
gotta
50
odd,
pairs,
yeah.
and all of a sudden, we're down to the last couple, but those work too, because you strike something that maybe you didn't know anything about, and now you've learned something else.
Yeah.
The opposites attract kind of a thing. So it's kind of worked all the way around. Again, kind of common sense, right? You're just connecting people making a friend, sharing a common interest. I mean, who doesn't want to meet somebody new and make a friend and feel like you have somebody else you can talk to?
Yeah.
It just works.
And
It
we
works.
have both the older adults and the young adults sometimes come and say, okay, I want to volunteer for this program. I want to help someone of another generation. And what sometimes ends up happening is even the people who say, yeah, I don't think I need this, they realize that they did need it. I just heard from a young lady 2 weeks ago who participated in the spring, a UConn student, who said, it turned out that spring I was going through a really rough time, and this program and my connection helped me more than I ever could have anticipated that it would have. And so that's just one person.
Opening up a new door kind of a thing, a different viewpoint, a different mindset, all of the above.
Yeah.
So it just works. I mean, we're social beings. We need to connect. It just works. So I think that's our best. And it's interesting because had COVID not happened, that would have not happened.
We created it in the summer of 2020.
So a little shred of goodness out of that.
And we
horrible
launched it as a
time we all
pilot
went
in the
through.
fall of 2020 to say, okay, can we do this? Can this work?
I remember
Can we
that phone
really
call.
ask two strangers to come together and
yeah.
to start to have a phone call with one another?
Jeez.
We have 90 people participating this fall.
This
We
semester,
have
yeah.
45 young adults and 45 older
Wow.
adults from all over the state.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And from 6 universities in state, so
Yep.
it's pretty cool.
T at 3. I love it.
T at
T at 3.
I'm having a wonderful conversation with For All Ages. We're here with Deb and Gary, episode 118. Feeney Talks with Friends. This is great. And the more we get together, the happier we'll be. Definitely walk away with that. Check out their website, forallages.com. And loneliness
.org.
seed. Oh, yeah. How did I get the org? I like that. We're .com. You just switch it over because
Well-
we're orgs, or why'd you go org
Yeah,
and com?
well, nonprofits
It's kind of like an
should be
unwritten.
Should be, right?
.org.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're switching over.
Yeah.
Actually, I own them both, but we only
I
put
think
up
at
the
one point
.com.
we had them both too. At
We
one
own them
point.
both too, but you want
Yeah,
to do
it's
that.
kind of
you want to keep
it's a
it.
convention.
Yeah.
Keep that domain.
Keep them.
Yeah.
I think I have net, US, com, and org.
There you go.
There you go.
So we'll do questions and then recommendations, and then we're out of here.
Okay.
You having a
Okay.
good time?
I'm having
This
a
has been
great time.
This is awesome.
This is fun.
I love it.
A couple questions. What is positive aging?
Positive aging means that, number one, we believe that we will continue to have a purpose and that we feel good about our aging. And number two, that we are going to share that with others in our lives so that they can see that it's okay to continue to age. We start aging from the day we're born. Think of
Yeah.
it that way. The day we're born,
Yeah,
we begin
yeah.
aging. And for so many people, they don't have a positive outlook on life. And because
Yeah.
they think, as I get older, my body isn't going to work as well, my mind isn't going to work as well. And none of that needs to be true if you just keep at it and you keep thinking about not what I can't do, but what I still can do, right? So even if you start to have trouble with your body, or you whatever the issue is, think about what you can do, right? And think about how you can continue to give back to your community and how you can be a force for your family and for your friends to show what positive aging is all about.
Yeah, I would add it like a feeling of acceptance, right? You accept it, right? Because we're all aging, and then embrace it, right? You're embracing it. Like I'm older, and I got a lot to give back, so I'm embracing the fact that I'm older. So I would call that positive aging as well.
Think about
the person I talked to the other day was not having positive aging.
Well, it's hard. It can be challenging. I will raise my hand saying some things don't quite work as well as they used to. But I do the best I can because I'm getting older. But I'm trying to embrace it. But it can be tough. It can be tough to do it. So it's a mindset.
That's where having people in your life that you can reach out to and having that support network that you've built through social connection can come in so handy.
Yeah.
Invaluable, really.
I thought that was great. You talked about loneliness is now a public health crisis.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Ageism, it hurts and it shortens the lives of elderly. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, there's actually research that's been done that says when we don't think about our own aging in a positive light and we just start to succumb to, oh, poor me, that our life on average is shortened by 7.5 years because we start to not go out, right? We start to isolate. We start to feel lonely. It all kind of comes into play with this lack of social connection starting to enter our lives as we get down on ourselves. And yet, if we're not that way, right, and that's what we're talking about, just flip it, right, and say, okay, how can I still contribute? What can I still do? My husband's grandmother, pretty much until a month and a half before she passed away at age 96, baked every Sunday for her church. Every Sunday. That was her purpose. She planned out what she was going to bake during the week. She went out and bought the ingredients. She walked to the store and bought the ingredients, brought them back, and baked right up until she passed away at 96. And if we look at the parts of the world where people live the longest, the blue zones, if you've heard the term the blue zones.
Please tell me more.
So, over in Sardinia, Italy is one of those blue zones, I believe,
I think
right?
so, yep.
You look at what people are doing to stay healthy, and they're walking. They're walking to the corner store, and there's lots of hills, and they're getting exposure to being outside in nature.
They're helping each other.
And they're staying connected, so they're having weekly meals. You ever picture those long tables, right, where people are coming together with 30 and 40 people to break bread? They do that. And the proof is now shown that all of that, in addition to healthy eating, right? So you've got healthy eating and you've got the healthy living is enabling people to live longer. So look up the blue zones.
Blue zones.
Yeah, there's I think 6 of them in the world.
6 or 7, yeah.
And then lonely adults are greater risk for poor financial decisions, poor healthcare decisions.
Yes.
They're vulnerable for scammers.
Yes.
And they increase in dementia, which you talked about earlier.
Yes.
So wow.
Yes.
Yeah. And 162,000 people die of loneliness.
Think about that.
That is way too many
each
people.
year.
That's sad. That's
Think
a
about
lot.
that. That's one person every 6 minutes.
One person every 6 minutes.
One person.
From loneliness. Too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So and the way that the federal government came up with that number is they looked at of people who have passed away from dementia or from heart disease, what was their lifestyle like, and what was the decade before they passed away like? So they were able to go out and talk to family members and understand what was happening with these people, and that is what they have now put forth. On average, that many people are passing away due to detrimental health impacts from loneliness on an annual basis. So that's crazy.
And you mentioned dementia. Our past guest, Jonah Francis, is a dementia practitioner. I would love to connect you with him.
That's awesome. Yeah, let's do it.
I think that'd be a good connection. Yes, social connection is best for depression, and you can't say that enough. And I'm on to recommendations, so I was going to recommend this anyway. get sunlight, exercise.
Yes.
And I've been doing this for 3 weeks. So another challenge. Write a handwritten note, and then take your shower. At the end of your shower, take a step back, turn it as cold as possible.
Oh gosh.
Try this later. Take a deep breath.
All right.
Get in there and hold it for the cold shower. It gives you a dopamine rush. You go, you start to breathe. It gets your heart racing. It will last better than coffee, and it's. Right now, hit your forehead first. Try it. Let me know. I'm going to follow up, Deb and Gary, and all my listeners.
Okay.
Cold shower.
Oh, goodness.
And I want to also recommend On the Scene podcast, episode 27. I was just on with Tom and Bob Carr, and Tom Hickey. They're On the Scene, sponsored by NBT Bank. Go back and check it out. I'll put the link on episode 27.
Awesome.
You connect with them.
Okay.
Those are my couple recommendations. Cold shower, exercise. On the Scene podcast, do you have any recommendations?
Well, I want to add to your
I'll
recommendation
add
on
one,
exercise. Exercise with friends.
Ooh.
And make it even better, exercise outside with friends, right? So
Yep.
you've got that triad going,
Ooh, okay.
right?
Outside with friends. And we're already
Exercise outside with
a lot
friends.
of checks off that checkbox.
There you
Yeah.
go.
I know Fleet Feet hosts a running club every Wednesday, so shout out
Yes.
to Fleet Feet. I've never done it. I want to, but I think that's awesome. Finding that common bond.
Yes.
Outside, exercising with friends.
Absolutely. There you go. Fleet Feet is a great partner of ours.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yes.
They are. They're going to be hosting the Comfort and Joy card collection box, probably at the end of November, early December, and
Who's
starting.
the new owner? Is it Dan Jacobs? Dave Jacobs?
I
New
don't
owner,
know.
right? New owner.
I do not know the answer to this. We work with one of our
One of
board
board
members
members
who
works
has
there
worked
on
there for a
weekends.
decade,
Nice.
and so she's kind of
Well,
our connection
I think
in.
Yeah.
he's going to be a podcast guest, regardless.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Fleet Feet.
Yeah,
Shout
my-
out to Fleet Feet.
Shout out
Yeah,
to Fleet
so
Feet.
my takeaway is this. Knowing some of the statistics that we've already talked about, reduction in dementia, heart disease, you can improve your chances for all those bad things just by being socially connected. You don't have to go to the
Right.
doctor. You don't have to develop $1 billion drug. This is something that we all have control of. So why would you not want to do it?
And it doesn't have to cost anything.
It literally can cost nothing, and yet you look at the improvement in your quality of life as the result. So that to me is a massive takeaway. There's not many things in the world that can improve your chances of longer, better life without spending any money than that. I don't know of another one.
Yeah, this conversation hits home. I learned so much. I'm a teacher. I'm a lifelong learner. I tell my kids learn something new every day.
go.
Yep.
I had a wonderful time chatting with you. We shot for 50 minutes with Feeney. How long's it been, Stefania?
An hour and 7.
Oh my
Hour and
gosh.
7. And we can
Dang.
keep going.
Oh my gosh.
I was
We
very
like
Thank
happy.
you,
talking about our
Eric.
I'm very
mission.
happy that we got together today.
Thank you.
Gary,
I'm
Deb,
thrilled to be here.
for all ages. Check them out, .org. And then they're running at the marathon. You check out their
Yeah.
volunteers at Morley. Sign up. They're almost at their goal. Try to be connectful. It's the word of the day. It's going
It
to be
is-
in the dictionary soon.
With
We
your
hope
help.
so. We hope so.
Any closing remarks?
Just thank you for having us on. Thank you for giving us this opportunity just to share a little bit about what we're doing. We're really here because we want to help people. And so the more people that we can that will listen to what we're saying, the more people that will be helped by it. And
Yeah.
that's really what we're all about. So thank you.
And I'll say thank you for your patience and due diligence, because I probably bumped into you at least a half a dozen times over the last couple years, probably twice that amount. And you're like, when are you going to do that podcast? I'm still willing to do it. In fact, the last one was at the golf tournament this summer. And I'm like, okay, Eric, we'll come and do the podcast. I'm sorry
Yeah.
it took so long. So we're finally here and we did it. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
happy that we're here. So happy that we did it. How'd you make out for Birdies with Charity?
We did okay. We
I
got.
think we were like right near
we-
$6,000.
We were a little less than that. We were in the $3,000 to $4,000 range. But that's a tough one because, it sounds like you're giving all that money when in fact you have to raise. You kind of have to raise that money yourself. There's certainly a lot of support, and without Birdies, we would not get the additional money from Webster Bank, for example.
Right.
So it's a very large benefit, but we have to work hard to get it
Yeah.
too, and we like that. It's a nice event. I'll say this, which is something we said from the beginning, is what are the best ways to connect people, right? And one of them is sports and athletics. One of them is entertainment or music.
Right.
One is the arts. So the golf thing, the marathon, it kind of fits, right? They're great. They're great little categories on how to connect people. So that's why we like being part of that for sure.
Yep. Well, this concludes 118. We talked with For All Ages. Please like and subscribe of the Feeney Talks with Friends, and let us know what you think of this podcast. Thank you again, Gary and Deb. I consider you good friends. So on 3, we're going to say, be a good friend.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Be a good friend.